everyone, and welcome back to another wonderful video. Today I'm here in Ponytown with another wish list. This is wish list number 9, and let me tell you, I have a handful of really great ideas in this. Some of these have actually been, suggested to me versus me just coming up with them, so we get some interesting stuff on this, and this is definitely a list of, things that a lot of people seem to want. So let's start with number 1, and that is to move the chat. If you don't know, there's this chat thing in the bottom left, how you open up the chat and start talking to people, as well as, look at the messages that have already been sent. This is known as your chat log. This idea is that you would essentially have the ability as a player to move this chat log wherever you want. Maybe you want to move it to the bottom right or the top left or something like that. I wouldn't say give us total freedom with it or something like that, but being able to move it to another spot would be pretty nice. This came up because recently I was able to get my brother to play Ponytown for the first time ever. He enjoyed the customization and this and that and whatever. That's not the point. The point was, when we finally got in the game and started walking around and talking to people and stuff like that, he kept getting confused on where the chat was, and I was confused on why that was the case. The reason why this was the case is because most games that he played, the chat was on the right instead of the left. So he kept, having trouble finding where it was, and then he found it, and I told him he would get used to it eventually, but then he suggested the idea of, why can't I just move it to another spot? That would be a very handy little feature to have, and I think it would be just great overall to have. Next up is a little bit more complicated. This one I talked with someone for like an hour or so. We just sat there and talked about this idea for a while. So we have a little bit sort of figured out, so to speak, with this one. Essentially, it would be some different UI changes to the action bar. The action bar at the bottom of your screen seems outdated. It seems a little out of place, and it definitely covers up a more screen than you'd probably want, and being able to turn it on and off and everything like that, that's not really the idea here. The idea is that it would be sort of a fade in, fade out type thing. I'm not 100% sure how to depict this or explain it, but essentially you would scroll through it just like you would any other set of settings or something like that. If I'm on my settings or whatever and I scroll down a little bit, and it would essentially be similar to that, where more actions sort of fade in as you go across. That way it covers up less of your screen and you can have more actions. In addition, it would be nice to be able to move this action bar to the top right or the top left or somewhere else. Being able to customize where that is would also be nice, similar to how the chat log is, where you can put it here or you can put it over here. It would be really nice to have both those options. As well, this is something that I've come up with just now on the spot. It would be pretty interesting if we could literally just press a button and then a little wheel appears, and then we can press one of them and that will give us that expression. That would also be another way to kind of play around with it. The point is, the actions how they are right now are not exactly the best, and I'm not a super huge fan of how the setup is right now. I would definitely like to see some form of change for it. I don't know what that change would be, whether it be the weird fade in, fade out type thing where you have more actions in your actions, as well as, just less space on your screen. We also tossed around the idea of oh, what if it was a supporter thing where if you were a tier 3 supporter or a tier 2 supporter or above or something like that, you could have more actions than what you currently can, because there is currently a limit. At least I think there's a limit. I'm pretty sure there is. Anyway, let's move on to the third idea. The next one would be emojis on the chat bar. Now, Mystical Meadows, I believe, does this, as well as some other custom servers. Essentially, it's just your regular little chat bar where you type in a message, but at the end of it, there's a little emoji thing. And you click that and it gives you options to add an emoji. This would be a really nice addition to have for the game, because memorizing all of the emojis are very complex, and they don't change in real time in the console. So if you type in, so let's say for example I type in the weird double dash thingy, and then put in banana, and then another double dash thingy, it doesn't change in the game until I press enter. So it would be nice to see this change as soon as I press it, similar to how it works on Discord or some mobile apps and stuff like that. It would be nice to see it change in real time. As well, it would just be nice to be able to very quickly press a button and have an emoji in our little thing there, similar to how Mystical Meadows or whatever else does it. And I do hate to compare it to custom servers like that, but honestly, custom servers kind of win with this, where it's so much easier to use emojis and stuff like that in-game than it is for Ponytown. Because for Ponytown actually has quite a bit of emojis, but we don't hardly ever use any of them. Almost no one ever uses them because they're kind of hard to remember. But anyway, let's move on to number 4. This one would be a huge thing. This is something that a lot of people want. Now, trust me, a lot of people want this. And after you hear this, you're probably going to want it too. The idea of this is that we would have an autosave for ponies. So for example, if I'm making a character or something like that and my power shuts off, I lose all progress on that character. However, if there was an autosave feature where it autosaved every 5 minutes or a few minutes or whatever like that, it would be excellent because it would fix the, oh, I lost all my progress type situation, because it would have autosaved your character. It would have given it like a name like default or something like that. You can have some kind of default name for it if it didn't have a name when you left or whatever. So having an autosave feature would be definitely a great thing to have for the game. Number 5 is to grid snap items as well as grid snap items onto walls. So for example, lots of other games like Halo, or it's weird to compare it to Halo, but games like Halo or even Sims have things like a grid snap system where things snap to a grid. It would be nice to be able to toggle on this grid while in game to get things perfectly lined up with one another. As well, it would be nice to be able to grid snap things to walls. So if I want to put like a painting on a wall or something like that, I don't have to sit there and struggle with, oh, is it on straight? Is it on right when I have tall walls on or whatever else? Instead, it would just snap right to the wall. And it would be nice to be able to toggle that on and off in case I don't want to put a painting on a wall and put it somewhere else. Similar to how people use windows for doors and stuff like that. Obviously, we wouldn't want to snap those to the walls, but it would be nice to have that option because it would make, you know, making a house a lot easier. Number 6 is something that I've actually kind of wanted for a long time, and I don't know how it hasn't made one of my wish lists. I actually don't know why it hasn't. In fact, it probably has, and I just forgot. But this idea is essentially to have an admin/mod type role for parties. So let's say I have a big party. I have the max party allowed, like 30 or 60 if I'm top tier supporter or whatever. And I want to, you know, manage this party and everything like that, or I'm doing some kind of thing and it's difficult to manage the party while doing all this other stuff. Let's say someone's doing something and they need to be kicked, but I am AFK, so they end up ruining my entire island while I'm AFK, and all the other players that happen to be in my party can't do anything, obviously, because yes, obviously, they can't kick them from the party. So as you can see, it would be really nice to have something like an admin or a mod, whatever you want to call it, for parties. So essentially how this would work is the party leader would be assigned. When you invite someone to your party, you become the party leader, and then you can choose anyone in your party, click them, it gets a little icon up there in the top left, and it says make party admin or something like that, and you click them and they suddenly have the option to kick someone from the party. The only person they wouldn't be able to kick, obviously, would be the leader of the party. As well, it would be interesting if they could also invite people to the party. That would also help with a lot of features and things that ends up happening when you're in large parties. Being like, oh, hey, we need to invite these people. Oh, sorry, the leader's AFK, can't do that. And it would be really nice to have like an admin type thing where they could also invite someone as well as kick people and stuff like that. So number 7 is actually something that I think have been requested for a very long time, and I'm honestly not sure why it hasn't been added yet. Essentially, it would be pride flags, pride emotes, or pride something for the game. It's very odd that they haven't had anything like this, especially since a lot of custom servers seem to do something like this. I won't name any of them, obviously. One of them we know very well, and we don't talk about it, but there's custom servers that have these like pride flags, and for some reason the main game doesn't have that. It doesn't really mess with the game in any way. It doesn't necessarily change the lore of the game. It doesn't change like, oh, that's out of theme or anything like that. It's not really hurting anything, in my opinion. However, if you didn't want to do the flags because a lot of other custom servers are using it, there's definitely some middle ground type stuff. So, for one, you could add pride emojis. Right now, there's currently none. If you scroll onto the help page and scroll to the bottom of the help page, you will see that there is not pride emojis, but there is a trans emoji. So they already have the basis for like going forward with this, and it doesn't seem like the emojis have to fit to any theme because we have like a round pen, headphones, hooves. What even are these? Like, well, hooves make sense actually. But like some of these other things don't necessarily make sense to the theme, like a bell, I guess maybe because Christmas or whatever, but a pizza, like that doesn't make any sense. There's no pizza in this game. So it would make sense to have like pride emojis where they're essentially just pride flags, but they're emojis instead. The command for them would obviously be the same as like all these other ones. You do like 2 little dots, you name the pride, you do the 2 little dots, and then it gives you that flag when you print it out. In addition to this, it would also be interesting if instead of this, if you didn't want to do this either because maybe the pixels are too small or this or that or whatever else, it'd be interesting to have them as items, essentially items that you can add into your house, your party island, whatever else. So they would essentially be very large flags that you could just put up in your house or your wall or whatever else on your island, your party island, and stuff like that. So that would be another way to kind of go back on that. So there's definitely workarounds to the fact that, like, oh, we don't want to use pride flags because this custom server and this custom server is using it, and we don't want to look like we're taking anything or this or that or whatever else. There's definitely room for it, and I definitely think it would make a lot of people happy. So that's the list, that is the ideas, that's all I have here for you today. I do hope that you enjoyed. I do hope that you agree with these ideas. I definitely hope that, you know, if you don't agree with these ideas, you'll comment why you don't agree with these ideas and everything like that as well. Tweak them, critique them, or do whatever else you want with them. These ideas are up for anyone. Even if you have like a custom server like Mystical Meadows, if you want to use these, you can use these if you want to. I'm not saying like you can't, but you can if you want to, because they're just ideas. But anyway, that is going to do it for the video. I do hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please do like, subscribe, and share, and do all of those wonderful things. Because when you do those wonderful things, you get access to wonderful content such as this. But that's not all you get. That is not all you get. You also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.